What image comes to your mind when you hear trader or portfolio manager? Perhaps the image of an ambitious, emotional, intelligent, charismatic trader who is ready for anything for success, like Bobby Axelrod. Or maybe a balanced and strategic investor like Warren Buffett. Perhaps you think of the Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort, an aggressive trader who uses unethical methods to achieve his goals. Or maybe cryptocurrency enthusiasts who tell everyone about their courses and how great traders they are, making money in a rising market. Or maybe just a person sitting behind many screens and working hard on each trade. Each trader is much more complex and interesting than movie characters or social created images. They face numerous psychological traps that an ordinary person may not even notice in everyday life. Traders are forced to work on themselves and overcome psychological mistakes inherent in us genetically for the sake of results. Also, every trader that can be seen in the market in the order book is a small link in a huge economic system in which psychology may play a key role. In this video you will learn what do a trader and an air traffic controller have in common, what really stands behind standard emotions like greed, fear and FOMO, what are the most common psychological traps traders fall into, what bad advice can you hear about managing emotions, and why women are not better traders than men. The consequences of stress. For clarity, let's look at different professions and their stress levels. Any score above 7 indicates a high-stress profession. According to a study conducted among traders in Saudi Arabia, the prevalence of anxiety and stress is considerable among day traders, with 64% experiencing daily stress and 80.8% suffering from severe stress. Research shows that surgeons make up to 66% make more mistakes on patients during stressful moments, highlighting the significant impact of stress on decision-making during operations. Air traffic controllers. 92% of air traffic controllers experience some level of psychological stress. Environmental engineers tend not to find their job stressful, which likely contributes positively to career satisfaction. As you can see, the responsibility for investors' money can feel as heavy as the responsibility for human lives, at least from the perspective of professionals themselves. In high-stress professions, responsibility follows individuals both permanently and situationally. And as they say, the greater the responsibility, the higher the salary. While this may not always be true, there's some truth to it. You might say, well, that's just how the world works, we all adapt to stress. However, it's easy to underestimate the consequences of experiencing chronic stress and emotional fluctuations. Traders under significant stress are prone to analysis paralysis, where they cannot make decisions due to information overload. A survey by a buy-side trading community found that 38% of traders reported mental health issues, more than double the 18% reported in 2024. Most cities stress and pressures as primary causes. A study by Law and Rapin revealed that even experienced traders exhibit strong emotional reactions during market fluctuations. Physiological measurements, for example, skin conductance, heart rate, indicates that these emotional reactions could negatively affect trading performance. Further analysis of traders' psychophysiological activity during trading showed that higher stress and arousal levels were directly linked to poorer financial decisions. Researchers found that traders with elevated psychophysiological activation performed worse overall. Broader impacts. Stress doesn't just affect a trader's work. It also impacts family relationships, overall health and personal well-being. Common psychological issues among traders: anxiety disorders, high financial risks, and market uncertainty often leads to elevated anxiety levels among traders. Depression. Significant financial losses or stressful situations can lead to depressive symptoms. Pathological trading. A compulsive trading disorders akin to gambling addiction can result in severe financial losses and social problems. Impulsivity. Emotional pressure can lead traders to make rash decisions without proper risk assessments. The larger the financial stakes, the greater the trader's stress level, and this can drive short or medium-term market fluctuations, which may accumulate over time. Imagine if every trader could manage their emotions just 24% better than they currently do by their strategies. Economics and finance would look entirely different. It would create a domino effect across industries, but perhaps it wouldn't be as exciting. Main emotions of traders and what they really hide. Novices often experience these emotions. Mid-level traders experienced these emotions. High-level professionals. Okay, maybe psychological mistakes have differences. Overconfidence bias. High self-assessment of abilities leading to underestimation of risks and overestimation of capabilities. Loss aversion. Stronger desire to avoid losses than to gain profits, potentially resulting in holding losing positions. Confirmation bias. Tendency to seek information that confirms exciting beliefs and ignore contradiction data. FOMO. Fear of missing a profitable trade, prompting unjustified markets entire. Gambler's fallacy. Belief that past event outcomes influence the probability of future events in random processes. Doesn't it seem like something off here? The more experience a trader has, the fewer mistakes they make. This is true, but other factors should be considered. Emotional memory and dynamics. Even experienced professions can re-experience strong emotional related to past traders, leading to repeated mistakes. For example, if a trader suffered significant losses due to greed or fear in the past, these emotions may reactivate in similar situations. When a trader sees a similar pattern on a chart as before, and also argues with spouse in the morning, for example, the entire state is activated. Not because the person isn't a professional, they are, but because that's how our brain is designed. Psychological biases remain relevant regardless of experience. For instance, phenomena like confirmation bias or gambler's fallacy can influence traders' decisions even after many years of trading. This suggests that emotional resilience isn't an automatic advantage for experienced traders. Even trader managing a sum they're comfortable with, who has experienced significant profit and proven their competence, feels they can control the market. A sense of power. Can I influence this large piece of the system with all these small traders? Now imagine that every trader thinks the same way as you do. No, you're the exception. You are not like everyone else. This is more common in crypto field. Simultaneously, your psyche may pick up indicators of your power, confirming that yes, you did indeed influence in. But what if you thought about the same thing simultaneously with traders just like you and made the same action, stimulating some movements? Or maybe it wasn't you, but it just happened. Maybe you even know this, but it's not that important, right? I'm not saying that being confident and feel power over the market is bad. On the contrary, I want to draw attention to the most popular trait not only among traders, our confidence. If you have one character trait, you simultaneously have its opposite, the emotion of surprise that precedes the feeling of interest affects our perception and allows us to see more elements of the picture before us than we would see when thinking, I'm great, I know this and I have seen it before, I know what to do. Also, overconfidence often increases when you are losing attention a bit and a little bit need to rest. These moments are very flexible and subtle. That's their complexity and advantages. Even the best strategies can be at risk if the trader doesn't control their emotions during stressful situations. This is especially relevant during market corrections or crises. Take a glass of water. Take it. I have a bottle. Are you okay holding it? Let me wait 20 minutes, 1 hour, 12 hours, 12 days. Imagine you are lifted a 100 kilogram barbell and you are generally okay holding it. Your body is trained, you are enjoying how strong you are. But what will happen to you when you stand like this for 3 hours, 8, 12, as with glass? Constant, even background monitoring of the market or news, even mentally, gives this load. The same. The world has changed and now it is often referred to as Shiva. There is significantly more uncertainty than before. Financial markets are constantly evolving, new technologies, changes in economic conditions, and the adaptation of strategies influence how traders interact with the markets. The influx of young traders with a different worldview and to this dynamic, experienced traders can become overly confident in their strategic approaches and fail to adapt to new conditions. This can lead to repeating old mistakes in new contexts. The next time you notice something recurring, dive into the context. External conditions may look similar, but it's crucial to consider the details and changes in the market. For instance, new cryptocurrencies can alter investment strategies, requiring traders to adapt, and this is just the first domino. 80% of the time we don't think rationally or make rational decisions. The work of Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky, who won the Nobel Prize in Economics, demonstrated that people are prone to systematic errors in judgment and decision-making due to emotional biases. They found that individuals often fail to adhere to rational principles when assessing risks and benefits. This applies not only to traders, to whole people. Most of the time, we don't think deeply, or at least not rationally. The influence of environment. Traders often work in environments where stress and competition are the norm. This can amplify emotional pressure and lead even experienced professionals to repeat mistakes. Interactions with other traders can also influence their decisions, as they may succumb to external pressure or group influence. The tendency to follow others during moments of even minor uncertainty remains a factor. If you are a leader capable of creating a non-competitive but supportive environment, you will help your traders build resilience and improve your team's long-term results. Developing emotional intelligence. Experience alone doesn't always lead to better emotional management. Over time, many traders shift their strategies from riskier approaches to more conservative, moving from highly volatile instruments to more stable ones. Not because they are bad traders, but because their psyche cannot endure such stress for years on end. The human system naturally seeks ways to reduce chronic stress. Remember this key point: your emotions are your body's way of communication with you. and helping you adapt to external conditions. They are always beneficial. The question is how well you can listen, interpret them, and decide whether to act or refrain from action accordingly. Experience protects against mistakes, but doesn't guarantee perfect traits or strategies. And what even constitutes a perfectly strategy or ideal traits? What does grow with professionalism is acceptance of risks and mistakes. These become part of the process. The ability to pull oneself out of emotional disorientation or tilt. This is often achieved through specific action protocols developed by the individual over time. A shift away from chasing massive profits. Expectations become more balanced and sustainable over time. Attention management. Without proper rest, individuals burn out and show poor results, eventually leave the field entirely. Psychological traps and biases. Fear, greed, euphoria, and the desire for revenge are classic psychological traps that everyone encounters. Their intensity tends to decrease with experience, study, and immersion in the field. However, I want to draw your attention to more significant psychological traps is biases. Cognitive biases currently number around 180. Yes, 180. And in my research are 216. And try to add the entire spectrum of emotions. It's quite extensive. Now imagine how emotions influence biases and vice versa. Variability is immense, and I could talk about them for hours. If you're curious, feel free to ask in the comments. For now, I'll focus on those that, based on research, are most common and widely studied. FOMO is an emotional state characterized by anxiety over potentially missing out on important social events. Research shows that FOMO is linked to the activation of the amygdala, which processes fear and anxiety. A high level of FOMO is associated with reduced cortisol sickness in the right presinus, which can affect social behavior and perception. This phenomenon is also tied to increased use of social media, leading to negative mental health outcomes such as anxiety and depression. FOMO can be viewed as an evolutionary conditioned phenomenon. Historically, social integration was critically important for survival. Missing out on key social events could negatively impact a person's ability to maintain connections and access resources. This sensitivity to exclusion or missing out remains deeply ingrained in us today. Following the crowd is supported by dopamine in our bodies, which reinforces the desire to conform. However, when we follow this desire but fail to achieve what we expected, dissonance and disappointment emerge. Therefore, it's better not to base decisions socially on social events. Regret aversion is a cognitive bias that drives people to avoid decisions that might lead to regret. According to prospect theory, for the most people, the pain of losing 100 is stronger than the pleasure of gaining 200. After all, you can die once. When experiencing regret, activity increases in the medial orbital cortex, areas responsible for processing emotions and decision-making. When anticipation regret, these regions are activated as well. For traders facing losses, cognitive dissonance after arises. A conflict between acknowledging a mistake and fearing the negative emotions associated with that acknowledgement. This can lead traders to hold onto losing assets longer in hopes of recovery. People tend to remember negative emotions more vividly than positive ones. This means that even if a decision was rational but resulted in a negative outcomes, traders may avoid similar decisions in the future due to fear of repeating a bad experience. The anchoring effect is a cognitive bias that causes people to rely on the first piece of information that they receive when making decision. This anchor can significantly influence the evaluation of subsequent data and outcomes. For example, if a trader sees that a stock is priced at 100, they may consider this price as a benchmark, even if new information indicates changes in market conditions. They might even perceive this price as more fair than others. According to research, the anchoring effect is present in all areas of life, from financial decisions to everyday choices. People often do not realize that their decisions may be distorted by initial values. When traders receive information about an asset's price, this information becomes an anchor they use to evaluate subsequent changes. Think about the simplest level we know and take a moment to reflect on it. Studies have shown that even when participants are aware anchoring effects, they still cannot adequately adjust their estimates. This indicates that anchoring is a powerful cognitive mechanism that influences our perceptions of reality. This is particularly dangerous in volatile markets. Confirmation bias is a cognitive bias that causes people to seek, interpret, and remember information in ways to confirm their existing beliefs or hypotheses. This phenomenon is especially common in situations where emotions play a significant role. According to research, people exhibit confirmation bias when they selectively gather or recall information or interpret it with bias. For example, traders may ignore negative news about assets if their initial assessment was positive. This can lead to significant financial losses. However, for the neural system, such behavior feels more natural because we learn better when building on something familiar. When traders receive new information, they often evaluate it through the lens of their prior beliefs. This can lead them to ignore or underestimate data that contradicts their views about the market or an asset. Even when participants recognize the influence of confirmation bias, they still cannot adequately adjust their evaluations. Loss aversion is a phenomenon where people fear losing what they already have more than they desire gaining new benefits. According to research, losses activate amygdala and striatum more strongly than gains do. The amygdala processes emotions like fear, while the striatum is associated with the reward system. This suggests an evolutionarily developed response to loss traits that influences our perception of risk and decision-making. When traders face the possibility of loss, their reactions can be excessive. They may avoid risky investments or delay selling losing assets in hopes of recovery. This can lead to even greater financial losses because traders are often unwilling or unable to acknowledge mistakes since they genuinely do not perceive them as such. Aversion can also cause paralysis, dissonance, and intense fear of potential losses, preventing traders from acting in situations where risks are justified by potential benefits. Thoughts tend to become stuck in repetitive loops during such moments. Others? How do you think cognitive biases manifest and how men and women react to them? Do we have differences? There is an opinion that women are better traders, and I have always been pleased to hear this from male traders. Research indeed shows certain differences in the manifestation of cognitive biases and reactions to them between men and women. Studies indicate that men may exhibit more confirmation bias than women. Men are more likely to seek information that confirms their beliefs, while women may be more open to new data and critically evaluate their decisions. Women are usually more prone to loss aversion, which can lead to a more cautious approach to investments. Men, on the other hand, may take risks more often, hoping for a quick recovery of their investments. Men may be more susceptible to the anchoring effect, where they base their decisions on initial information without considering new data. Women may demonstrate greater flexibility in their evaluations and decision-making process. Women also tend to have better discipline. They are less prone to impulsive decisions and are more likely to stick to their strategies. Fewer risky traders, better emotional management. Despite these advantages, women often have less confidence in their abilities compared to men. This can lead to women being less active in trading or not utilizing their investment opportunities. However, I don't think this comparison is entirely fair. Look, for a successful career in trading, women need appropriate conditions and support. Historically, there have been more men in this profession. This means that women may have different motivations and approaches to trading than their male colleagues. Men are more likely to engage in trading without a special preparation or careful consideration, whereas women usually take more time for preparation. Extended training provides significant advantages. It's also important to remember that women rarely choose the profession of the trader, so it's worth considering that they make this choice more consciously and in line with their inclinations and talents. So I don't think anyone is better or worse at trading. Overall, it's more accurate to compare within similar contexts and conditions. That we have different traits should be recognized to the fullest. A woman on a trading team will undoubtedly make the team stronger in terms of results, but we will talk about this another time. Mistaken advice and thoughts on trading psychology that don't work in practice. Emotions are the problem. Some experts claim that emotions are the main cause of failures in trading. However, as Jared Tendler, author of The Mental Game of Trading, notes, emotions themselves are not the problem. They signal deeper issues such as fear or greed. Attempting to control or ignore emotions can lead to even greater difficulties. Discipline is the solution to all problems. Many traders believe that a lack of discipline is the primary reason for their mistakes. However, the root cause often lies in emotions that drive them to break their own rules. For example, the fear of losing money may force a trader to adjust their stop losses or exit a trade too early. It's important to first understand emotional triggers and then work on discipline. Some traders believe they can improvise while trading because they have a vision of the market. However, the absence of a clear trading plan usually leads to chaotic decisions and losses. Often looking at a trader's table of traders reveals that those made according to strategy are successful, while trades made outside the strategy initially shows profit, but later turn the table red. No matter how large your profit may seem, at just how many trades you make outside your strategy. Successful trades guarantee future success. When an investor chooses a trader, they logically look at statistics. However, this can be a big mistake. It's incorrect to assume that a few successful trades guarantee future success. A trader's success depends on their character and behavior across different economic situations, phases, cycles, conditions, and sums involved. Professionalism and experience are developed over time, along with how calmly and steadily the trader handle problems. Methods for managing emotions. Breathing exercises. They are the fastest way to stabilize a personal state. If you want to experiment, use bracelets that measure pulse or blood pressure. It will be interesting to compare your state before and after breathing practice. Recommended practices include square breathing or 4-7-8 breathing techniques. Meditation. Research shows that regular meditation practice can change brain structure, particularly by increasing cortical thickness in areas associated with attention and emotional regulation. Meditation promotes neuroplasticity, brain's ability to change based on experience. There are as many meditation techniques as there are strategies and technical instruments in trading, so choose one you like. The goal is to better understand what you are feeling right now, why you're feeling it, and what to do about it based on your objectives. Physical exercises. 2/3 of our nervous system trades alongside us when we are physically active. Physical activity stimulates the production of endorphins that improve mood and reduce stress levels. Aerobic exercises like running, swimming can help calm the nervous system, while strength training can be useful for relieving accumulative stress. Physical activity strengthens your ability to react calmly. Keeping a journal. Use it to analyze emotions and market reactions. For example, color code cells or use emojis to track emotions tied to specific traits. For example, closed this trait with these emotions. This helps monitor patterns. Empathy. When you communicate with traders caught in our confidence traps who claim others are sheep while you are exceptional, it's likely they'll soon change profession or fall into depression. The market is a thought teacher, but observing other traders provides valuable insights and patterns. This is essentially what technical analysis is based on. Social context. Talking with other traders or close ones about your emotions, your feelings can help reduce stress. Support from those around you makes it easier to overcome difficulties and share experiences. A team, assistants, friends, it's beneficial to share your emotions, thoughts, and experience with them, but don't overdo it. If necessary, seek support from a psychologist. Hobbies and leisure activities. Family trips, theater visits, movies, wherever gives you energy, whether it's reading a favorite book or taking walks with dog. Working through fears. Ask yourself, what will happen if my fear will be real? 7 small joys, 4 medium-sized ones, and 1 significant one. Try living by this principle for at least a month and see how your decisions will change. Friends, I've shared quite a lot here and could share even more. Ask questions in the comments about problems you have encountered, and we'll meet again in a new video.